Okay, after defining that random variables, or I can say random numbers, and checking for that random numbers, that whether that random numbers are uniformly distributed or dependent, or dependency between that numbers is there or not. We have learned lots of methods like chi-square test, autocorrelation test, run test, Spearman correlation to know what is a correlation between a pair of or set of random numbers. Now, what is this random numbers are used for? They are used in lots of methods or experiments. The most of the use of these random numbers into the Monte Carlo method or a Monte Carlo simulation. So as I have already told you, what is the here what is Monte Carlo is. Monte Carlo is one of the city name, and in that city there are lots of gambling casino is there, and to predict how to win a game in that casino, this Monte Carlo method is established, and due to that city name, the Monte Carlo simulation or Monte Carlo method is given. So basically, what is this Monte Carlo method is used for to predict something. Whenever you want to predict some data or some future decision you have to make, and from the previous data, whatever your data you have, using that we can simulate, or we can find out what is the future decision. We can make a future decision, or we can have certain approximate solution to the problem which we have. So it's written that in general terms, the Monte Carlo method or a Monte Carlo simulation can be used to describe any technique that approximates solution to quantity problems, qualitative problems through the statistical sampling. So using the statistical sampling, we can able to solve using this method what is the approximate solution to that problem. So here a Monte Carlo simulation is more specific to use the describe the method or translating a certain into the model inputs to certain uncertainty in the model output. So whatever the uncertainty is there, for example, you when you had a coin, so what is the probability? You know that after throwing a coin or tossing a coin 100 times, what will be the probability that 50 times will Hades come? Okay, so expectation is there, but when you go into the long run, what will happen? Whether the experiment thing is equal to the practical things, so that is the thing situation is there. Hence the type of simulation is explicitly the quantitative representation of uncertain problem. Okay, so this type of whatever the types of the explicitly you can define a problem is this, and you have a quantity of that problem, then you can represent uncertainty into that. So Monte Carlo simulation relies on process of explicitly representation of uncertainty by specify input as probability distribution. So it will give you probability distribution for that. So if the input describe the certain uncertain things, so it is a prediction of the future performance is necessary uncertain. So if you have described the uncertain things, the future performance will be necessary uncertain. That is the result of any analysis based on input represented by probability distribution itself a probability distribution. So when you give me a probability distribution, it will gives you output is a problem. So it is a gives in probability terms. Whereas the result of single simulation of certain system is qualified statement. For example, if we build a dam, the Simon is a one of the fish population or that fish population or salmon population could be explicit. That means it may be destroyed after if you build a dam, the salmon population is destroyed. So that which cannot be means this statement is not qualified statement because there are lots of data is it could not be happen that if you build a dam then all the salmon will go away. Okay. So it is not the proper statement. So it is better that you can put some qualitative or qualified things into that. So if the result is probabilistic, that is a Monte Carlo simulation is qualified probability. If you build them, then there is a 20% chance that salmon population will be go explicit. So that is now qualitative statement is there. That means 20% chances are there that the salmon population go explicit. That means there are 20% chances are that fish is go away. So such result in case of qualified, the risk of expectation is typically much more useful and decision making who is utilize the simulation result. So in order to compute the probability distribution of percentage predicted performance, it is necessary to translate or propagate the input uncertainty into the certainty, uncertainty into the result. So if you want that, it will give you predicate the performance, your input should be in the proper form. So varieties of model exactly the propagate the uncertainty. Monte Carlo simulation is perhaps the most common technique for propagating for uncertainty in the various aspect of the system of predict the performance. For example, what will be the chances are there tomorrow will be the share market price will be or whatever the share is there is price will be up. So what is the situation? So can we predict that thing? The answer is no. But there are some techniques. Using that techniques, one can do that. So here is the Monte Carlo simulation is one of the technique is there. So for example, Monte Carlo simulation is entire system is simulate the large number 1000 times. So whatever the system is there, if you run that system 1000 times, then it will give you some prediction regarding it. We'll see the example of that one so we can understand much more. Each simulation is equally like refer to a realization of the system. For example, when we toss a coin, it is equally like situation. That means it will head come or it is tail come. So there are chances are there. If you 100 times do the experiment and that 100 times experiment you will do 10,000 times, then there are chances are there 10 times head is come or 50 times head is come, you will have perfect probability for that. Okay. So that is the Monte Carlo simulation is. For each realization, all the uncertain parameters are sampled. So whatever the uncertain parameters are there, it has to be sampled. A single random value is selected from the specific distribution described to each parameter. So it has to be as whatever the single random variable is there or random value is there, it has to be specified and distributed in describe each parameter. The system is simulated throughout the time, which particularly a set of input parameters such as the performance of the system can be computed. So the system has to be simulated and given set of input parameter. With the given set of input parameter, whatever the parameter is given is there, you have to run that or you have to simulate them. Simulation means you have to construct the same kind of situation in your computer and you have to do that experiment many a times, and from that simulation you can predict what will be the output is. So this is the large number of separation and the independent results, and each representation has possible feature for the system. One possible path system may follow through time. So one of the path can be followed through the time. Okay. So the result of independent system is realizations are assembled into the probability distribution of possible outcomes. So this is actually a Monte Carlo simulation is that you can run a system for the large number of times and each of that independent results will leads to you some output or some prediction of the system. As a result, the outputs are not a single value, but it is a probability distribution. So as a result, it will give you some probability that if you toss a coin, there are chances are there 50 times head come. So in that manner, it will gives you some probability distribution is there. For example, a tossing a coin is a game that we are making some programming for that, or let's say there is a one play is there. Two players A and B throw a fair coin of n times, and if head come, then A gets 1 point, otherwise B gets 1 point. This is the game. And what happened to absolute difference in the point as n increase? The first question is, if I increase my n, then what is the difference or what is the absolute difference between the points of A and points of B? How much difference is there? This is a random process. Okay, can we predict that the difference should be this much or this much? So what is the probability that one player leads between 50% and 55% of time, or more than 95% of 95% of time? So what is the probability with this? Okay. In case of 20 trial, let's say what is the probability of 5 head in row? That means 20 times you toss a coin, what is the probability that you will come to this situation? 5 times head is there continuously. That means 5 times continuously A will win. What will be the probability? Yeah, theoretically we can compute that. Okay, theoretical definitely we can compute this. Now we can easily derive the expected value of this game. The expected value should be, we know that the probability of winning A, I can say the probability is P, which is 1/2 for the tossing of coin. So it is P into 1. That means a 1 point we will get the A will get the 1 point. And if we lose that, that means the probability is 1 by 1 minus P. Then it will lose, so it has to be minus 1 point into that. So that's why the output of this one is 0. So the expected value of this binary thing, that means 1 or minus 1, will be 0. So this is the expectation is there. Whether the same experiment will goes for the things, let's see. Programmatically, if we toss a single coin 1000 times and observe the outcome. So it is possible that we toss a coin 1000 times and we observe the outcome. So 1000 times we toss a coin and we'll see what is happening. So we'll do for that we'll use the R programming for that. And we generate buckets of two numbers first. So I'll suggest that you will go to your R programming and do this, what I'm suggesting to do, that you generated two buckets of numbers -1 and 1, which will represent that if -1 is come, A will lose, and 1 is come, A will win. So you generate a sample of this. Every time we pull the value of out of this bracket and toss a coin. That means a toss a coin. We'll need to record all the values and replace it. So every time what we are doing is we toss a coin. That means we pull out one number from this. So we have actually generated how many numbers? 1000 numbers. And 1000 numbers will represent only 1 and -1. And we toss a coin means we pick out one value from this bucket randomly. We'll need to record all this and replace it. So we have to put a record of each and every time. And if we don't replace the number, we don't have any number left over after two coin tossed. Okay. Here is the code that will do that. So we have to do first sequence of coin tossed, and we'll generate a sample. Sample is a command in R, that is C of -1 and 1. So C of -1 and 1 is a vector, and 100 times we have to make a sample between 1 and -1, and replacement is true. So the sequence of coin tossed will now generate a one vector, will having the quantity 1 -1 -1 -1 1 1 -1, such kind of 1000 entry will be there. So I suggest that you also do it in your PC, that you open your R Studio or R, whatever you like, and type this. The next, this is the outcome you will have. This is the what is the outcome is look like. You can see that the sequence of coin tossed is look like this. This type of vector is there. And if we run the same code again and again, you will have a different outcomes. That means what we are observing when we 1000 times we toss a coin, that set of vector or that set of numbers I'm making in separate window or separate vector. Again we are doing the same experiment, and again we are doing the same experiment, and every time we got this different sequence of this 1 and -1. And if you look the our cumulative sum of the single run, that is a command is accumulating sum. The command is this sum, and we plot that into the histogram of that. So plot cumulative sum of sequence of coin tossed, and type is L. So let us do this one. this quantity. That means first sequence of coin toss, and then you try to run and plot that, accumulate some sum into the R. I'll give you 1 minute time to do that. Once you'll do, you can ask, tell me. So first do this and then plot this cumulative sum. So you've done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next, so after 1000 toss, we see that the plot of V ended approximately such this thing. So everyone probably have the different quantities here. Okay. So can somebody tell me some probability approximated? Plot is approximated ended to?
-30.
For someone it is -30. Let us see what is happening for me. So see,
-10.
so some of have -30, some of have -10. So everyone have a different output. The plot is ended with that value. That means, can someone have the positive also?
So 15.
15. So in that case, so -30, that means A will lose the game with -30 points. Here is also losing, but here A will win for 15 points after 1000 toss. So now let us repeat this game of 10,000 times and see what is our final end up with the each time. Okay. So the same experiment we have to do it for 10,000 times. And I will store every final this value in the list container and use this unlist command to create a vector that can subsequently plot the histogram for the function. So we'll have some histogram for that each and every time. So for that, what we'll do, create an empty list, store a result. A result is the empty list I'm creating and running a loop of 10,000 times. Coin tossed, cumulate sum of that, whatever the experiment you did for 1,000 times. The same thing is here. And every time will find what is the accumulating sum and store into the coin tossed. And the result of this II is a coin toss of a length of this and unleash the list to create the histogram, a set a title, a set color and break. So for that, what we'll do is histogram we are doing that unleash the result, whatever the result is in list. So we unleash that. The histogram for final PNL color will say light blue and break is 100. So we are making the some histogram of that and we're having the blue color. Place the vertical line. So we are putting the vertical lines with the width of 2 in order to show the average of the distribution. So AB line V equal to color red and LVW is equal to D. So width of that one is 2 or line width. That is the command for LWD equal to 2. So we are, and this AB line is everyone has at the same place. So I will suggest that you can do this thing in your PC. I'm giving you some times to do that. And parallelly, I'm also doing the same thing here. So I'm stopping this presentation, and I'm sharing my R window to you guys. And doing the same thing is here. Result. So I'm creating some empty vector result list. Okay, then running a loop for I is in 1 to 10,000. Coin toss, toss. So tosses accumulate sum, a sample of C between -1 and 1, 1000 time, and replace equal to true. So I want that it has to be true value is replaced. Then result is of I, that is coin tossed of length of that of coin toss. This will complete this for loop, then making this histogram for that. So for that unlist result, then main, that means I'm making a title for that histogram for all the final P and D, P and L. Making color equal to light blue or blue, whatever you want. Break 100, and then we are drawing some vertical line. So I'd say AB line is V equal to 100, sorry 0. Color here we are putting is red, and width of that line equal to 2. And let us try to run this each and every command. So you can see that I export this result or zoom out. Is it visible to you, this zoom figure? Histogram?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can see that everyone has the same kind of pillars is there, isn't it? Everyone has the same kind of
Yes, sir.
figure. It's kind of normal distribution is there. So one can predict from this. That means that there are equally likely chances that are there A is win and or B is win. In that we can predict. That is we have done this experiment for 10,000 times, and we have created that situation. Okay, let's go for the next. Now this approximately, this is a binomial distribution is there, so we can we flip a coin 10 times, and we want to know that what is the getting a more than 3 heads into that. So now this trivial problem for the binomial distribution, but suppose we have forgotten about this and or never learn to this first place. Okay, so suppose that this is very easy problem actually. If you can see by binomial distribution that we can easily solve this. That means if you flip a coin for 10 times, what is the probability that 3 head is come? That is very easy problem. And suppose what we don't know how to solve this problem for now. And what to do if you want to solve this using the Monte Carlo simulation. And it can be easily solve this problem with the Monte Carlo simulation. We use the common trick that representing a 0 and 1. So tail will represented by 0 and head will represented by 1. And simulation of 10 coins toss will be 1 lakh times, and see how often that is happen. Okay, so the same techniques which we have used previously, we can use here also into this problem. That means whatever the 10 times we toss a coin, whatever the situation occur, that situation we can do it for 1 lakh times. And then from that prediction, whatever the situation is there, from that we can predict that when you toss a coin 10 times, there are probability that the 3 head will become. Okay, so in that way, so that for that we can do this R code. So first run, I'm making the run which will be 1 lakh times. That is a one tail simulation to single round of 10 coins. What will be written? Return value if the number of heads is greater than 3. So one tail. So this is I'm doing for one time, for only for one time. So one trial, that is a function I'm making, a function which does not have any argument. That sum of sample is between 0 and 1, and 10 times I'm doing, replacement is 3. Why I'm doing the sum? Because I know that if it is greater than 3, that means there are number of weights will be greater than 3. So now we repeat this trial run times for the command that BC or storing that one into this and replicate the situation, that is one trial. How many times? 1 lakh times. So runs is equal to 1 lakhs, one trial, and then sum divided by number of runs. So that is a MC binomial will be there. So the same situation, that means what is the chances that there are more than 3 heads is there. So more than 3 heads is there, that is this the binomial command will gives you, or which will gives you probability for that. Okay, so you can do this one in R. Let's see what is your outcome. So for now I'm stopping this sharing for this file and share my R console to you. So now next we'll type runs is 1 lakh, or we can put any large number you want, whatever the large number it is in front of you, you can do that. Then making a function 1.trial. So I'm making one function 1.trial, and function does not have any argument. So this is the things. Sum of a sample between 0 and 1, you required a replacement is true. then function is over here, and repeating this process and storing that value into this name, variable name MC stand for just giving you name MC, that is Monte Carlo binomial sum of replicate. So that replicate is a command which replicate this situation, this function 10,000 times. So that is the first argument in that it is run, and the second argument is which function you want to replicate. So one dot trial with no argument in that, and we have to divide this by run, that is how many number of things is there, and we just run this. So it will taking a time sometimes, and it will gives you this variable. So I'm just typing what is this MC dot binomial, and it will gives you this output 0.099. So there are chances are there 0.99, 0.439 chances are there that and everyone has a different output here, because this is an experimental thing. And what is the theory says for that? Stopping here for this and sharing another window for that. Okay, so in our, for my computer it is 0.9949. when I did this presentation, it was at the time 0.8279. and the theoretical, which we compare with the build binomial distribution function, which is also you can check using this p binomial function, that is 3 head we know, or 3 times output 10 05 lower tail is fail, it will be 0.82 0.81. so this is the actual binomial theoretical data will gives you this output, and this is the approximate data will gives. Everyone has the different output there, because this is experimental thing, this is a theoretical thing. So this gives you just flavor of what is the Monte Carlo simulation is do. So what is Monte Carlo simulation? You have some situation and you repeat that situation and build the simulation regarding this. The same situation for large number of times, and from that you can try to predict what is the output is. So that is the Monte Carlo simulation is this. Let's do the some other experiment, that as a sample of example of a Monte Carlo simulation, consider the calculating the probability of particular sum of throw of 2 dice. So we have a 2 dice and we throw that 2 dice and we calculate what will be the sum showing in that 2 dice. So there total 36 outcome is possible. Combine of this output in this 36 outcomes is showing here. Possible, that means 1 plus 1 is there, then 1 plus 2 is there, 1 plus 3, and so on, 1 plus 6, and so 2 plus 1, and likewise up to 6 plus 6 is there. So there are total 6 into 6, 36 outcomes are possible. So what is the probability of, or what is the possibilities of sum? The possibilities of sum is 0.2, 3, 4, up to 12. And here there are the probabilities is written. Here this is the probability of getting 2. Here is a probability of getting 3. Here is a probability of getting 4, and so on. The sum is 4. So in particular case, there are 36 combinations of dice roll. Here it is all the situation is showing here. That means for a probability of getting 7 is the highest, 0.1. sorry, 0.167. That is the probability of getting 7. So when you roll two dice and getting a probability of 7 is highest one. So that also, this probability you can easily calculate. For example, there are two ways you can have, sorry, only one way is you can have this 2. That is 1 plus 1. There is no other way. So the probability will be 1 by 36. There are, to get the 3, you will have two ways. So it is 2 by 36. So this way you can get the probability of each and every term here. Okay. So based on this, you can manually compute the probability for particular outcomes. So for example, we can have did there. And for example, there are 6 different ways that dice could sum to 7. So which way I have saying that there are 6 different ways. 1, 2, these are the 6 different ways. So the probability for this will be 6 by 36. That is 1 by 6, and that is 0.167. So instead of the computing the probability in this way, however, we could instead of throw the dice 100 times and record how many times each outcome occur. So we'll do, this is the same situation in by experimental way. That means we throw 100 times a dice and we record that every time this one and see what is the outcome occur. So if the dice total 7 is 18 times out of 100 times roll, we could conclude that the probability of rolling a 7 is approximately 0.18. So in that way also we can get this situation. Obviously, the more time you roll a dice, the less approximate result could be. Better than the rolling a dice 100 times, we easily do with the simulating this one 10,000 times and more. The computer will do this calculation very fast. So instead of doing the 100 times, we'll do 10,000 times. And you can do, if you want, you can do it more, and it will give you predict or approximate value which will be very closer to the theoretical thing. Because we know the probability of particular outcomes for 1 to 6 for all 6 number, this is the simple, and the outcome will be 10,000 realizations. So we'll do that one here in this. So we'll have a R code for that. Simulate the outcome for tossing a fair dice function to obtain the random sequence of 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 6. N is a length that we have. So I'm making a function that is, and it has to be a uniform function. It can be possible that any number which come from out of this number. So it is the uniform distribution should be created from that. So for that, I'm just making one function, die tossing function, which having the output is n. How many number of times you have to do that? And I'm using the ceiling function. For R uniform is a command to generate a random numbers between 0 and 1. So it will generate n random numbers between 0 and 1. Multiply by 6. So that means that output will be between 1 to 6. And ceiling function is to make it into the integers. So this is a random numbers which generate from 1 to 6. Okay. And for example, when I explicit or I run this 100, that will 100 times it will generate a number from 1 to 6. You also do that alternating approaches. This you will do the sample of this 1 to 6, a size is 100 and replace is equal to true. So you can do any one of them. Then here we'll do increase that one. That means rolling a dice. So now we are rolling a dice n times. A sample So we are not doing the for only one dice. We are taking for two dice. So 1 plus that means I need a sum of these two. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is there. Another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Randomly will have a number from this and randomly number from another set of numbers. So that's why I'm using the addition here. That is a sample from 1 to 6 and the sample from 1 to 6 and addition of that two and making the histogram of that. So I'm storing that one in A. Whatever the sum will come, that sum adding or storing in A. So A is a main histogram of rolling a two dice. Color is light blue and break is 100. So that we can make as a function. We give the example where the Monte Carlo method are used to estimate this number. Okay, and you will run this one. You will run the same situation. If you increase your n, then you will have a probability for that. Like we have did earlier. Okay, so you will do this one by yourself now. So making this function, rolling a dice, make a histogram for that. So here is also you will have a normal distribution things you get. The 0, sorry, the 1, 2, 3 and up to 12 and you will get this type of situation. Try to see. Should I do it on my PC or you can able to see this one by yourself? Yes.
So is this the full code?
Yeah, it is. It will gives you histogram. It will gives you this type of figure.
Excuse me, sir. The curly braces is not getting over. So
Which where?
last.
Oh yeah, here it is over.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay.
You may plot the AB line also here if you want. Okay. So the next experiment is interpreting a distance between 2 points. So we give the example of a Monte Carlo method is used to estimate a number. Our example is here is average distance between randomly chosen point in the region. So if you this experiment is kind of if you have a region, so in that region you pick up any 2 points randomly. What is the probability that the distance between these 2 points is fixed? That is the problem. And how to overcome this situation? What you will do is you will pick two numbers and then find the distance between them. How to calculate the distance between 2 points into the plane or any region is there. Suppose this point is x1 y1 and this point is x2 y2, then you know the Euclidean distance between these two is under root of x1 minus x2 square plus y1 minus y2 square. This is the distance you can find. This is the way you can have. Now here What is the distance? You can find out using, so the question is, you pick up any two random numbers into this region and how to find out the distance between these two. So our example is here to average distance between randomly chosen point in this region. So whatever the point you will have, you can choose that. So such average distance come up in many settings. For example, so why this is useful? It is saying that in biologist, the enemy at the bird had to spend a guard its territory depends on the average distance from the its nest to the point to this area. Wireless network, the probability that the distribution network is fully connected depends on the average distance between communicate node. So this problem is useful in many areas which we have. So the average distance from the drilling station to re-station or the doctors are also interested. So that is the situation is required. So to focus on essential, suppose that x1 and x2 and z1 and z2 are the two independently uniformly distributed random points in the finite region. So it will construct a one square. What is this represent? It will represent the square. So this or a rectangle. This is the 0, 0 point. This is 0, 0A and 0B. And this is the AB point. So this rectangular region is this R, and this X and Z, you have to pick any two random points in this region. Then we know that the distance formula is represented by this x1 minus z1 square plus x2 minus z2 square to be equivalent distance between x1, this x and z. Now to approximate this, the expected value should be this much. So n times you do this experiment, the expectation should be this. That means 1 by n summation of d is nothing but the distance between these points xi and zi. So you have this rectangle, you do this experiment n times, you pick up 2 points x1, z1 and find the distance between that. You will do the n times, then the average of that distance will be the expected value of that distance between these two. Perhaps the surprise the fact that the expected value is already known and it is a closed form, and we used to see the Monte Carlo of performance. Okay, so to see this one, the expectation is very close thing, closed form, and we'll do the Monte Carlo, how the Monte Carlo simulation is performed in this. We are not doing any R code for that, but for our understanding, we'll just see what is this problem is. So goes in 1951, so the expected distance is this much. The expected distance between any 2 points will be this. So A and B are the 2 points, and the expected distance is always will represented by this formula. Okay. And for many problems, the close expression is like this. They simply don't exist, and then we do the very hard to derive. And how it is derived, that also we are not interested into that. The exact solution of like equation 2, we also have very bright, and it's make a small change into the problem. It may become impossible to get exact solution. In application, we might need study of non-rectangular region or use a non-uniform distribution on the region of interested, measure a distance in terms of travel times, or even take a point to grid data, such as a street intersection in California. So these are the problems that is there. But here, the situation is much more favorable for Monte Carlo simulation. So Monte Carlo simulation is much more used to do this. Even though to design something also the Monte Carlo simulation is used. Okay, so there are many ways, many areas where this Monte Carlo simulation is used. Here I'm just giving you, you can read this one whenever you have a free time. So I will share this PDF to you. So the next fact or next interesting method or experiment that we are doing is experimenting this value of pi using the Monte Carlo simulation. So this method is to finding the answer to problem repeating the sampling method as random. So we know that the pi is related to the area of the circle, pi r square, and if I want to estimate the value of pi, what will be the value of pi? That is one nice experiment is there. So the experiment is like this. You consider 1 by 1 square. Okay, and in that you can draw one circle with radius 1. So this is the circle with radius 1. So my drawing is not that much perfect, but you just see this is the square is there, and there is one circle inside this square whose radius is 1. Now what is the area of this square? If the length of this one is 1, the area is 1 because it is 1 into 1, and the area of this circle is pi. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll throw a needle to this region and we record every time how many points are gone into inside the circle and how many points are gone outside the circle. Okay, so we throw a needle every time. So sometimes it may go here, sometimes the needle goes here. If I throw a needles into this region, then it may possible that a region this needle go here, here, and here, and then at the end we'll count how many numbers or how many points, how many times this needle is thrown inside this, and if we can count that one number of points, so it will give you approximate answer to this pi. So that is a Monte Carlo simulation is. You do this experiment infinitely or for large number of times, and if you do that one, you will get this value of pi approximately. We know that the value of pi is cannot be calculated. That means it is 3.14 and so on is there. So here they are preliminarily suit to problem where the deterministic algorithm is might not be practical or even feasible. For financial perspective, the Monte Carlo simulation are most effective way to model a behavior that have degree of uncertainty, which can be large from the calculating option price to risk in the simulation. Okay, so this is the problem we have. If we consider a unit circle means whose radius is 1. Inscribe into a square of 2 units wide. So this is a 1 and this is also 1. So it will be 2 radius. So in the previously I said 1, but it is actually 2. So it is 2 by 2 square. So the area will be 4. And we can show that the ratio of this area to the circle to the square can be used to find the value of pi. So what will be the ratio of the area of this circle and this one? The area of this circle, we know that is pi r square. That is, the 1 is there. So it will approximate the value of pi by 4. Okay. And if once we have pi by 4, we can multiply that value to 4. It will give you value of pi. So that is the idea to do this. The area of the square described by length x is obviously x square. And we know that the area of the circle with the radius r is pi r square. Okay, this is the area of the circle, this is the area of the square. If it is x, in previously I have taken x as 1, sorry, 2 and r is 1. So we can create a following ratio between these two areas, that is pi r square upon x square, where in the previous case we have a pi by 4. So now we can see the finding the value of r. That means if I want to calculate this r, can we find the value of pi by multiplying 4 to this. So pi is a 4 times r. So using the Monte Carlo simulation, we can provide the simple way of calculating a value of pi. So Monte Carlo simulation is rely on the random sampling. In the simulation, we are going to randomly pick a coordinate in the original square. So as I told you that we keep a record, that if we keep a track how many times we find the points fall inside the circle, and we start approximating the r. R means this value previously I have defined, the r is pi by 4. And the image above installation is illustrate what happening into the simulation, and the ratio of the number of red dots to blue dots approximately the ratio of a circle to the area of the square, which gives you the value of r. That means every time when you put a needle here, how many times it will come into the red and how many times it will come to blue. So then we'll calculate how many times it is in red and how many times into that ratio of number of points which are inside this circle and hole will gives you the approximate value of pi by 4. And we need to do the programming for this situation. So what we'll do is, we define one function called the simulation, an argument with the simulation, and the simulation, this function is pi estimation is a function name. Making hist as a 0 variable, random coordinates. That means I want that I'm using the polar coordinates here, that is r cos theta, y is equal to r sin theta. Theta is the random numbers that I'm picking between 0 and 1. Okay, so that is how many times I require this number. R is 1 here because the radius of that circle is 1. So what is this? Actually, this gives you x square plus y square is equal to r square. If I make it this is less than 1, then this value is inside circle. If it is greater than 1, then it is outside circle. So that's why I'm creating x, which is r uniform, which is a random numbers. How many numbers is required? It depends on here. Y is a vector which gives you this simulation or how many numbers in that vector is required. Check the distance from 0, 0. That means the distance from square root of this x square plus y square. If this distance is greater than 1, then it is outside circle. If it is less than 1, then it is inside circle. That is the objective. So for length, I is from 1 to length of distance. If the distance is less than or equal to 1, heat equal to heat plus 1. So heat I have put it 0 first. So one times it will gives you 0 plus 1. Second times 1 plus 1 and so on. So every time this is there. And heat is equal to 0, heat plus 1, and then we'll estimate pi heat upon simulation. How many, whatever the times we do that, that is total number of points are there. So heat divided by simulation multiply by 4. That's I told you pi by 4. So if I want pi, you have to multiply this quantity by 4. So this is the value of R is there. R is what we have is a circle, whatever the area of the circle upon area of the square, that is the number of points in the square circle and number of points in the square. So that is heat upon simulation multiply by 4, and that will print pi. That means it will gives you pi, and it has to be approximately 3.14 and so on, this value of pi. So this is, and if you do this process for large number, that simulation times, then you will be approximating this 1.34 correctly. So that is called, this is the simulation of the situation that we have. So let us do this one into the R. So I'm just opening I'm stopping this sharing and do I share the screen of R Studio. Okay. Let's do that. Pi estimation is the function I already created before, but I'm making for you guys again. A function simulation heat, making heat as 0 value, creating x, which is the x variable, R uniform simulation. So this is gives you a number between 0 and 1. Okay, R uniform is a command to generate uniform random numbers between 0 and 1. Y is also simulating R uniform. So x and y is created, then we check the distance. Distance is the square root of x square plus y square. We'll check that. If this, so I'm running a loop, loop for each and every this 1 to length of distance. Heat is stored in heat plus 1, and then I want pi will be heat upon simulation. How many simulation we are doing into 4, and then print or return pi. And running this, and then pi estimation, let's say 10,000 times, and do the, it will gives me 4, 3.14, it will gives me 4. Let's take this one by 2 raised to 1000. Error, uniform invalid argument. Okay. It's every time gives you 4. Why? Heat will be, oh yes, here I have not, because this is every time it will be gives you, yeah, definitely it will. Here I forgot to write this. Distance is, if it is less than 1, then and only then heat is equal to heat plus 1. Otherwise is not. Okay, so that was my mistake. So now if I run this one, now let's see what is happening. Taking time, yeah, it is 3.14173.8. And if you can see the value of pi is 3.1593. And if you increase this, it will approximate this to value. So this is the Monte Carlo simulation is. So thank you for this. There are other Monte Carlo simulation methods are there for calculating the integration, how to calculate the integration using the Monte Carlo simulation. That we will do it in the next lecture. So till then, if you have any doubt, you can ask.